Get off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, Streaker, and more. Why so many places? I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness, so there's no gossip here, no scandal, no K-words, no Kardashian talk, no any kind of talk. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. That's why we do not have any headlines here at all. You've got plenty, actually everywhere else talks about the headlines, almost always negative. Instead, I'm balancing out headlines with heartlines here with topics that will expand your mind and expand your happiness. And guess who will do the same? And this is a special month. We're coming up on the end. I'm celebrating 13 forking years of a show that they said wouldn't last a year because I wasn't talking about the headlines. Today is show number 1,398, over 682 consecutive weeks. And a special guest to celebrate my 13 years in this month. He is someone new as far as I'm pretty sure I've never had an opera singer on, but it's a little bit different. We're going to learn the difference, but in the category of genre of music, this is a first. And thanks to Queen Bonita, who introduced me to Darryl Taylor, who's a celebrated countertenor known for his compelling performances across genres, maybe generations too, from Baroque to contemporary, showcasing his vocal versatility and expressive depth. He has performed internationally in recital, opera, and with orchestras across Europe, Asia, and the Americas, and is the founder of the African American Art Song Alliance, advancing the world of Black composers. And you know I love diversity, so that's a double great. Taylor's discography on Naxos and Albany Records, along with his influential masterclasses and lectures, reflect his enduring impact as both an artist and an educator. Please welcome to my studio, Darryl Taylor. Welcome.
That's quite a mouthful. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And so glad that you're here. And we're going to start with something I never warn my guests about because I want us to be spontaneous. But y'all who are tuning in, I see the eyeballs rolling in. Welcome. You know the drill. We start every show with breakfast and taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. Top of the bun, things we're grateful for outside of ourselves. Bottom of the bun, things that we're grateful for inside of ourselves, otherwise known as appreciation. So this is a good life habit, a hashtag Blisscipline. Started about 3 or 4 years now on the show, and I encourage all of you to, even when you're not with me first thing in the morning, to do this, because I promise you'll sandwich your day in the most positive way. So I'll start this morning. I am grateful for I got to spend Memorial Day Monday with a whole host of my Agape, Love Burrito, Love Spring Roll folks, my other big brother Ishmael Tete, and my other big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith. You'll see that on social later on, but celebrating his visit. And the next time we see him, I'll be going to Africa. So I'll be going in August to teach balanced Tai Chi Gong at at sunset. So if you're wanting to go to Africa with me, just go to agapelive.com. So that's my gratitude and a little commercial at the same time. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for good food. I like I'm grateful for the gift of music and the gift of friends and the ability to be cognizant of that in the moment, and not have to wait until it no longer is there.
Very, very wonderful. I'm also a big fan of the deliciousness of life. And you'll see sometimes on my social that I am one with my food. And it's so, that's what was so concerning about COVID was the loss of the sense of taste. And knock on wood, I haven't had it. I'm one of the only people I know that hasn't had it.
Well,
So
that's two of us.
you
I didn't.
too?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're the first person I've met that hasn't had it. But I'm also grateful for spontaneity. Queen Benita was eating, and she could see my building, and her son, celebrating his birthday, said, let's call her up and see what she's up to. And so they were over here over the Memorial Day weekend, and happy birthday, dear Justin. Happy birthday to you. We'll see if he likes that. It was wonderful having them pop by, and I made them play cards, and I am grateful for my ability to have fun. And that's the bottom of the bun. So the reason why I do the bottom of the bun is because a lot of us don't toot your own horn. You're not all that. Who do you think you are? And we grow up with those messages, which I know are well-meaning from our parents, sometimes more mean than well. And it has developed a group of us that has little love for ourselves, self-care, self-soothing, the foundation of mental health. Instead, we're walking around with antenna looking for who loves me or who likes me. Literally, how many likes do I get on social media, which is a horrible way to live your life, not knowing how one of a kind wonderful you are. So that's why we do this weightlifting on the bottom of the bun. And I just said my ability to have fun. I appreciate that I know how to do that, and I'm very good at it. Darryl,
Indeed.
what do you like about yourself?
I like that I have finally come into a place of knowing who I am and accepting it, and sharing it gratefully with others.
Isn't that a wonderful feeling?
Yeah,
It
it's more than a notion.
definitely. When I had a guest, her best-selling book is "What You Think of Me Is None of My Business." And truly it is. In fact, there's an African American saying, which is one of my favorite sayings. It says, when there is no enemy within, no one outside can hurt me. Isn't that profound?
Well, and it's true.
And it is absolutely true. I like that I live by a lot of my teachers that come out in quotes and that come out in principles, and that I am a product of many, many global thought leaders. And I so appreciate that I turn my cup open to be poured into. I don't think I know it all. I always love learning something new. And for that, I am appreciative. One
Yes,
more.
indeed.
What do you like about yourself?
Oh, I like that I have a unique perspective on music. I like that I have a unique instrument to share. I like that I still have something to say, and I yeah, the older we get, the fuller our bag comes. You know, all these life experiences and all of the things that get poured into you, and it takes you time to realize that you don't realize that all of the stuff that you've gone through is your emotional currency, and it makes you deeper. It makes you more interesting. It gives you empathy if you allow it to, and that I recognize that, and that I'm so grateful to be a singer and that I can pour that into in a way that other people don't necessarily have access. And no matter how hard they try, they'll never have access the way that God has given that to me. So I'm really grateful for that.
Fantastic. And that is it for breakfast. I hope that you start your day with gratitudes, end your day with appreciation before you go to bed so that you can actually get a good night's sleep. You're not thinking about who done you wrong or what I didn't finish or why I'm not good enough. Instead, if you take the bite of the gratitude sandwich every day, you're going to have a really good foundation for a great life. And you know, I'm on a happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So that is your breakfast and your sustenance. Thanks for joining us for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day. Everything is awesome. Darryl Taylor, tell me, I don't have an answering machine. I have a questioning machine. And when you call me, it says, "Who are you? And what do you want?" So, who are you and what do you want?
Oh gosh, well, I mean, gosh, that can be answered on so many different levels, right? The basic line is me being a native of Detroit and living in Southern California and having grown up in a musical family and with a foundation of gospel. And I wanted to be an R&B singer, and fate said, "Oh no, there's something else for you," and segueing into the classical realm. I've done a lot of. I started as a lyric tenor, high lyric tenor, and moved into work as a countertenor about midstream in my career, and finished in my graduate studies at the University of Michigan, where I was really introduced to the world of African American art song, and I refined my interest and love of that there, and established the African American Art Song Alliance, and became a strong advocate for marginalized composers, not just African Americans, but especially women composers and people that think that they don't have a place at the table, saying, well, hold it a second, there is no table. There's just what has been presented to us as this limited sort of place, and there's a lot more room for everybody. And so that's where I've spent a lot of my time and energy, recording, performing, and lecturing and giving masterclasses and that sort of thing.
Fantastic. So much there. I love learning new things for the first time. So I know that's like a double entendre there. No, double affirmative. Yes, and double affirmative there. Yeah, jumbo shrimp. So let me go back and because I want to, the whole world of opera is a little bit unfamiliar. So even when you were talking about the distinction, okay, R&B I know, and then opera, I know I've been told I'm a mezzo soprano. I'm a singer songwriter as well.
I can tell.
Thank you. And I didn't even think to be nervous to sing in front of a professional singer. I just realized I did that. But so take me through just those, from so bass, it's all about the bass, right? And then there's obviously mid levels or mid classifications. And if your voice is warmed up, sort of take me, if you can, through all those. I'm springing this on you, but you're a teacher.
That's right. So teach. Well, so inside of all music, there are categories that helps us to understand the things, and people don't necessarily have to be married to one category or another, but the broader sense of categories gives us a baseline of understanding and appreciation. So cisgender males have a certain categorization. Cisgender females have a certain categorization. The highest voice type among cisgender females is soprano, coloratura soprano down to soubrette and lyric soprano, in dramatic soprano. And then you go down to the voice that's a little lower than soprano, the mezzo soprano. Now, sometimes their ranges can overlap, which means that there are some mezzo sopranos that can sing in the soprano area, and there are some sopranos that can sing in the mezzo soprano area. It's just more about where their comfort level is and how they present and all that sort of thing. And then under mezzo sopranos would be altos or contraltos. Those are very, very low female voices, cisgender female voices. Now, the traditional categories under men, starting from the bottom, the basso, the bass of that, basso profundo, bass baritone, baritone. Then you have inside of that high lyric baritones or verity baritones, etc. Then you move into tenors. You have dramatic tenors that have a beefier sound. Sometimes they can be confused with baritones. And you have lighter tenors, and then you have full lyric tenors into lighter tenors, and then there is this category where I fit in. I trained as a high what they call lirico leggero, a light lyric tenor, and I always had this quality in my head voice. All voices have chest and head voice. I had this quality that was a winning sort of sound, and
I'm going to interrupt for a second. You said something about there was a word before head voice, and first of all,
chest.
So what is a head voice? I know what it is, but for those who don't have no clue, what is a head voice?
Right. So the mechanism, the vocal mechanism, can have a heavier quality, or what we call our modal quality. So where cisgender men generally speak is That's a chesty sort of space, and a headier sort of space with that. It's oftentimes it's higher, though not necessarily. Everybody has that ability to move between those places. And in my voice, the just wound up getting stronger and stronger, and was really crying for to be heard. And I tried to do it in my
R&B.
lyric tenor, and in R&B for sure. And also I tried to do it in the modal tenor voice, and it just the repertoire just didn't show what all I could do. People would say, "Oh, you're able to
hit the high notes,
soft things."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, but that's my middle voice. That's really not my high voice. My high voice is up here."
Yeah.
And I was in a session with my voice teacher. My voice teacher was George Shirley. He's the first Black tenor at the Metropolitan Opera. He's a very significant force. And he was asking me to do something in my lesson, and I was struggling with it. And eventually I said, "Well, Mr. Shirley, I'm not resisting you. My voice does what you're asking for. It does it up about a fourth, and the interval of a fourth." And he said, "Well, show me." And I opened up, and he said, "Well, I think you're a countertenor." I said, "No, I don't want to be a countertenor." And the countertenor, not to be too academic and boring on it, but the reason that men have repertoire to sing in their head voice is largely because, I mean, I'm talking about classical music. I'm not talking about R&B or African-derived music, but Eurocentric music. There was a whole era that went on for quite a while where if a young boy was found to have a pretty voice, you saw something like that in Slumdog Millionaire, the movie Slumdog Millionaire, where they identified this person as having a pretty voice, but they had this tradition in Europe as well, where if they identified him as having something really substantive, they wanted to preserve that before he hit puberty, and so they would castrate him. And those singers, when they grew up, they were trained, they were highly prized, and they were called castrati or castrato. and a castrato. So they didn't realize that you could use your head voice in
And
this way,
still
but you didn't
have your, yes, and still
and still
be
have everything
intact.
intact. Right,
Yeah,
right.
wow.
And
So the
yeah,
choir boys are an example of that
yeah,
high, yeah.
yes,
Okay, so
yeah,
I didn't know that. That's like
yeah.
fascinating. Fascinating. So, and then the other term is cis. You've said cis several times, and just for those
Yeah.
who aren't familiar with that, what is that?
Well, I mean, it's a 21st century sort of uh,
Along with the pronouns.
acceptance. Yeah,
Yes.
this acceptance that everyone that is born into a body that looks a certain way, presents a certain way, isn't necessarily that way internally, and so we have this common sense of when you are born with an X and Y chromosome, that's a cisgender male, and when you're born with two X chromosomes, that's we accept
Okay.
that as a cisgender female.
Got it. Got it. Just for clarification.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
going
of
to take
course.
a quick break for news, weather, and traffic. Those of you just tuned in, you're listening to my very special guest this morning, a friend of Queen Benita's, who is a cousin to my former co host on Fridays, Alon Carter, who is the daughter of Otis Williams, the founder of the Temptations. And that's how we got to Darryl here today. I'm so glad he's teaching me so much about opera, and we're going to learn more about African American art song. Taking that quick break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Word from our sponsor, News, Weather, and Traffic. It's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. We'll be right back.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, and number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my YouTube TV channel, home to all 1,398 podcast shows, plus other videos. I've got my red carpet celebrity playlist with interviews with John Travolta, Halle Berry, Quincy Jones. So if you free subscribe, that's what I'm supposed to do, I'm told, and give me the finger, this one, not the other one, you'll have access. It's a free subscribe, so there's really no reason for you not to. I am delighted. I actually, I can't stand it when people ask, if I request a guest, what are your numbers? Because if you build it, they will come. And I know for a fact that people buy numbers, and I refuse to do that. But at the same time, I just found out, I was shocked to find out I have a 3.88 million impressions on my YouTube channel, which I was like stunned. So I am grateful. That just tells me that there are a lot of people out there who are tired of listening to the headlines as well and want to tune into something that is happy making. And today is no exception. I have with me in studio, my Tuesday talent is Darryl Taylor. He's a celebrated countertenor known for his compelling performances across genres, Baroque to contemporary. He has versatility, expressive depth in his voice. He's performed internationally, and most important is his founding of the African American Art Song Alliance, advancing the work of Black composers. His discography is on Naxos and Albany Records, which you can find along with his masterclasses and lectures, and he's doing that today with us. Please welcome back to my studio, Darryl Taylor. Welcome back, Darryl.
Good to be back.
I am also now going to give you something because, it didn't really land on me, the work that you're doing with the Valuing Diversity and having a place to showcase and to encourage non-traditional, maybe even, right, in the underserved or undervoiced, I'll say, pun intended today, a community. And for that, I want to give you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award.
Well, thank you.
I don't give that to every guest as well. So tell me about what you're doing now that I gave you the award.
Well, the African American Art Song Alliance I established in 1997, really just because when I was doing research and trying to find information, I found it very difficult to find it in traditional places. And if you walk back with me in time, 1997 was around the primordial soup of the beginning of the internet. And so when I recognized that there was a void of information, and I just poured into that. And I wrote an article that then became the place marker for saying, come here. This is where you should start your search. So it started with a website, which is artsongalliance.org. And then blossomed into, I field thousands of requests and queries about the repertoire, but beyond that, I do every 5 years I do a conference on African American art song, and we invite performers and scholars and students and community members to just come and be part of the celebration and the inquiry, and we've done quite a lot of work in that regard. The first one was done in 2007 to mark our 10th anniversary, and then we moved on, and just in 2022 we marked our 25th anniversary of the African American Art Song Alliance, and
wow,
and it keeps going.
That's awesome. Let's see if I can. Nope, that's not the one. I wanted us to see that in more full. There we go. Yeah. That's what I was looking for.
And there's also a presence on YouTube. It's just go to Art Song Alliance, and there's a YouTube channel of the significant performances and lectures, And I tell folks all the time I'm the most contactable person on the internet. I keep myself very accessible because there are people invariably that have questions of where do I find this, where do I start, and on the Arts on Alliance there's a you have to find it, but there's a links page where you will find an extraordinary amount of resources to assist anybody that's even ancillarily interested in the genre, or just want to know what else have people done in the world besides what I've been fed.
And these are all significant African American women composers, for example, that we've never heard of or have not been put in front of us, correct?
Right.
Like a
That
lot
wasn't-
of
yeah.
them.
Right.
I'm just, Florence LaRue is coming back onto the show. Who
I love
is-
her.
Yes, I love her too. She came on. This will be her third time, but this time is to celebrate my 13 years. She was just gracious enough to come. I know she's just beautiful, and the second time she came on, she sent me orchids after the interview because she was performing at the.
You can tell her
Savant.
when I was a teenager, I would listen to her singing "This Is Your Life." She recorded that with the Fifth Dimension as a solo. "This Is Your Life," and I listened to it on repeat. So I know her voice really, really well.
Oh, how
And it was foundational.
wonderful! Yeah, it's June next Tuesday. So if you're around, pop in
tune
and
in.
tell her that. Yeah,
Yeah.
she will be. So anyone, are there names that we actually have heard of maybe that are the more, they were recognized maybe more so. Well, George Shirley is the one you said that is the
Yeah.
first to
Black
perform.
at the Met, at the first black tenor at the Met. Well, Florence Price is getting some recognition now, a lot more recognition than perhaps any other female, black female composer. There are a ton of them that are, I mean, tremendously talented and should be known. But it's hard to gain recognition in classical music when you're of any stripe. It's much harder when don't look like the people that are keeping the gate, as it were. And thankfully, thank God for the internet, because we were able to bypass the gatekeepers and ring our bell and say, "We're here. You just haven't known about us." You're landing now on the images page, which I find so important. When I was doing my research as a young graduate student at the Library of Congress, one of the difficulties I found was so many of the things that are gathered in libraries don't have a picture associated with them. And Black people very often were fed this line and continue to be fed this line that, the problem with your acceptance in the mainstream acceptance is that you don't do like everybody else. You're too far set apart, and so we anglicize our names and our contributions. We went to the same schools and all that sort of thing, and what winds up being is this. It makes it into this big soup. Is very hard to discern when you're looking for any specificity. So if you didn't know the name, that's Florence Price on the banner. It's gone now. But
Wait, go back. This one?
Yeah, that's on the left. It's Florence Price, and to the right is Margaret Bonds, and you're on Margaret Bonds' bio page. The name Florence Price, there's nothing particularly African or African American about that name. And if you didn't know who the person was, it's very easy to pass them up. And the difficulty with that is when you have positive contributions made, particularly in classical music, by people assume it is of the majority population. And so you just become another brick in the wall. Rather than a distinguished marble that's something very distinct and should be celebrated for its distinctiveness.
And that's why I gave you the award, because I think that information like this, absolutely. I mean, I could just spend a few hours just learning about, instead of scrolling about people who really don't matter. Sorry, most of what is flashed before you these days, and rhetoric and pontification and anger. Like, spend your time going through that and learning about African American composers and singers who, wow, that was fascinating. Just what I was able to read. So all of that is available for free.
That's right.
You collected all of this information, put it in one place for people to learn, and I think that's a great thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's go back to you. You said musical family. So who was the musician?
My sister. I had an older sister who I'm trying to find, how did she start singing? She's since left this realm, but so I can't really prod her too much more. But but because she was 4 years old, my senior, and she was singing, and so I sang, and we sang together in our living room, and then she went further, and she was part of community choirs and that sort of thing. And my mother said, "You're not staying at home. You're going with us. We're going to be in." I don't want to sing when you're going to sing. So that's how that's exactly how it came out. Too bad
You didn't
don't
have
want
a
to do
choice.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Thanks, Mom. So then you started singing. You had mentioned gospel, and so you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get made fun of because you sang with such a high voice?
Well, my voice wasn't particularly higher. I will tell you, the persons that gave me the hardest time were my uncles. I had 5 uncles, and I had 2 in particular. They said, "You need to put some bass in that voice." And I said, "But I'm a tenor. My voice is higher. It just is."
Yeah.
And and there's a place for me, and you should try and investigate it a little bit. But my uncles were men of the street, and so
Yes,
they,
and
they,
well-meaning. More
right,
mean than
exactly so.
well. They
That's
didn't
right.
want
That's
you
right.
to get made fun of.
That's exactly it. That's exactly
And
so.
yeah, so it's a good example of, one of a kind, wonderful. We're all unique, have unique gifts, talents, and abilities, and fitting in is a thing of the past.
I will tell you that about derision. Um, the part of the fact that I am a countertenor. So countertenor means that you sing higher than the tenor voice. I sing in the area where altos sing or mezzo sopranos sing, and I'm aware, sometimes painfully aware, and just really just aware that every time I open my mouth in performance, there is somebody there that's going to find it funny. And okay, that is what it is. And I performed at Carnegie Hall, no less of Carnegie Hall, and someone had video recorded it from the balcony, and I opened my mouth and I heard some people snickering. Well, here's the thing. No, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I accept that. But if you are laughing when I finish, then we have to have a conversation. It's one thing for you to be caught
I
off
think it's
guard.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Uncomfortable, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Surprised.
It doesn't fit the narrative that you expect to hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, are you warmed up enough? I asked him yesterday.
Yeah, we'll see what we got. I don't know what I'm going to sing, but yeah.
That's fine. I would love it. This is Darryl Taylor, folks, who is going to grace us with a little bit of his voice. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show, always trying to bring you something new and something to learn from. So take it away, Darryl.
Well, I guess the most accessible thing across genres is Amazing Grace. I'll sing a little bit of that.
Beautiful.
And you won't get in trouble with your
yes
because of
copyright.
Right, copyright. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. It's pretty.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And I know that the mic sometimes mutes a little with the variation, but I definitely caught the texture, which is
Well, it's why I didn't want to go too high, because I would say that those
yeah.
usually will
Yeah, it'll blow
fry.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's beautiful. Now, so countertenor, I'm guessing Prince and Michael Jackson were
Yes.
somewhere in there.
That's right. That's exactly so. So it's the refined handling of your head voice. Some people call it falsetto. I don't refer to it as falsetto. There's nothing
That's the
false
word I
about
was
what I do.
thinking
Yeah.
about.
But head voice is what I do. So and here's the thing: if I go, ah, am I in head voice or am I in chest voice? You really can't tell. There's a kind of a blending. We would call that mixed voice.
Oh, see,
If
I
you go
always
high
thought
enough, you go
Go
high
ahead.
enough, and you go high enough, and it's going to be
head.
there's no. Nobody would confuse that with chest voice.
Right. Yeah, I was led to believe, and I'm sure I wasn't taught this, especially if it's not correct, but that head voice is out through the nasal, so it has more of that nasally sound. No, yeah,
Come see me for a lesson.
okay.
We can have a distinction, but you can have head voice in lower tones, and you can have head voice that's not necessarily in the mask or not necessarily in the nasal passages. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I just had a flash inspiration here. Since it is my show, and since you are a teacher, I'm gonna sing that same thing you just did in different, I'm gonna try to figure out my true best voice with you.
Okay. That's
Okay,
good.
because you are the teacher and the expert. Okay, so
Okay.
Amazing Grace. Now that's my low.
That's your chest voice.
That's my chest voice, and that it would be considered an alto.
If that was where you were really comfortable, yeah,
Okay.
that overlaps with where tenors
Okay.
and some baritonal sound would be.
Okay. So then if I go Amazing Grace, I feel the head in there.
Yeah, that's more alto now, and it does start to have a more of a blend with head voice. It's not entirely head voice, but it's leaning in that direction.
Okay. And then if I go, I don't even know if I can go higher than that because I haven't
I bet you
warmed up.
can, but I bet you can, but it wouldn't surprise me if you don't use it regularly. That's on either end of the spectrum. If you don't use it regularly, you should expect that, like any other muscle, if you haven't been using it, when you go to use it, it will be weak. And how do you strengthen muscle that's weak? You don't strengthen it by ignoring it. You start using it, and you
start
accept
using it.
you
Yeah.
accept that it's not going to be where the other muscles that you've been using more regularly are going to be, but that it can catch up.
Okay. We'll give it one try.
Yeah.
Amazing Grace. Oof, I'm hurting. How
Well,
sweet the sound. Like I feel like I'm pushing, right?
because you're at the upper end of what the chest voice wants to do, and
Okay.
earlier than that, I would have encouraged you to
To
transition into a more of a mix, so that when you get beyond that place, you're really much more in the head. Now, there are some singers, particularly cisgender females, who will give you the sense, you have the impression that they are in chest when indeed they're in a mix. Aretha Franklin, Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, when they move through that place, they are actually in a mix. There's no way that you're going to sing as high as they sing and not have some quality of head voice engaged there. It would just cut out. It just would cut out.
So I just saw two of them out of four. I had Gladys Knight and Stephanie Mills in concert,
Yeah.
the Four
Right,
Queens,
right.
for my Mother's Day gift from my younger daughter.
Very good.
And so Patti LaBelle is way up there. Shaka Khan
Right.
is way up there. That is cis.
All of them are cisgender females,
Okay.
and Patti LaBelle used to do a lot more chest and a mix into that. You're right that she would use her mask quite a lot, but it wasn't nasality. There's a difference between mask resonance and nasality. But she would use her mask quite a lot, which gave her access to a headier place. That then we had a sense that it was chest, but it is not indeed chest. Aretha Franklin did that as well. And if they come to a certain place of realization that if you don't start to add some quality of head in your range is going to be limited, and your singing life is going to be limited. So you really
Interesting.
have to make that transition.
Interesting. Gosh, we're in the last quarter already. I wanted to ask the vibrato. So
Uh-huh.
that's been something that I've always seen it as negative because it just, I had, unfortunately, a bad experience with a choir director who would have me, try out for a solo part in something, and then I would start singing, and she'd say, I feel like I'm in Vegas. Sit down," which was not nice. But
That's not nice.
and it's that vibrato, and then another choir director says you just don't blend with anyone, which was also, I know. So I have this little chip on my shoulder when it comes to my voice.
Yeah.
And my dad, when he found out that I was being spotted by Sade's management team and to do a demo, blah, 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 when I had to choose between a PhD and a music career, he's a PhD. So he flew down and said, "You're good, but you're not that good of a singer. You can always come back to it." And I am grateful that I did get the PhD, and not go to the music. His point was there are people who are dying to sing, and you're not one of them. And so that was but it's true. You can always come back. And what I've been doing is starting. I won a karaoke contest and different things. But going back to the vibrato, I'm getting comfortable with it now that that's just part of my voice, and I'm not going to try to stop it.
That's right. Well, I would start from sort of place. Vibrato, vibrancy in the voice should be a natural manifestation of breath pressure against vocal tension. Period. It should just happen because things are balanced. If there's no vibrato, it's probably because there's overstressed or overpressed. If there's too much vibrato, it's because there's not enough support. Sometimes as we get older, you just can't hold things the way that you had held them before. It's a natural part of. No. But I don't think that you're at that place at
I'm
all.
laughing because I've been doing stand up, and that's one of my jokes is I'm trying not to have a booby do, which is when my tummy sticks out more than my booby do, which is not holding stuff in place, which is exactly what you just said.
Right. Well, I mean, okay, so I would, first off, if you're singing inside of an ensemble, inside of a choir, you have to understand: are you singing in order to blend, or are you singing? Is your intention to stick out? Soloists do not blend in general. Soloists stick out. I train soloists. I train them to. I want you to stick out. I want you to be distinctive. I want you to sound different from everybody around you. However, to have the ability to advance and to retreat is important. It's important to be able to sing in an ensemble. That's a sign of mastery of your instrument. And so, but that's done obviously better when you have supportive people around you that are qualified to tell you how to do what you do, as opposed to just batting you down and saying, you don't belong in this sort of thing because you don't have what I can't teach you. If you don't have it, teach it to me, or send me in the direction of someone that can teach it to me. But identifying what it is exactly that you want to do, if you want to blend, then there are certain ways of doing that. And if your voice sticks out, listen, Edith Piaf could never sing in a choir. Could never sing in a choir. You would hear her over everybody. She was not intended to sing in a choir. You have someone like Beyonce, who definitely sticks out, but also knows how to blend and knows how to come back. And so that's a marvelous thing to have. And not every voice has to have that.
Right, right. Listening to mine, what's your first assessment?
My first assessment is that if you were working with me, I would want to find what's on that head voice. I want to extend that and find where it is, open it up, and then the head voice is, I think of the chest voice being like the id. Thinking psychology. It wants what it wants when it wants it, and the head voice being like the ego or the super ego. It just it when you strengthen it, it will naturally connect with the id. It wants to connect with it, but it needs to be strong. And left to its own devices, the id will trounce that. It won't just turn over and say, you know what, I really need is some of that head voice. No, it will not. It won't do that. It will trounce it. You strengthen that head voice. That's where every voice should be strengthening their head voice. It means longevity and flexibility and all of that balance that we were just talking about.
Interesting. Yeah. Because it is true. Like when I want to choose a key, I choose it for the chest voice, not for the head voice. Because I know that point with which I switch, and all of a sudden it becomes breathy or weaker or so
it's just weaker and needs to be fortified. And what I would do with you, I would put you on a chest voice diet. I would say no chest voice for a little bit. Let's just work on this head voice. Let's just see, and it will present itself. It will present itself over time.
Interesting.
I promise you that's how it would happen.
Interesting. Something to think about. You know, I'm a multi-hyphenate, so I already have 8 jobs. I don't know if I if I have the time, but it does sound fascinating to me to explore this area that I am not familiar with, right?
Well, can I point out that I hear you utilizing your head voice and your speaking voice all the time.
Oh, really?
But I don't know if I have the time. That was head voice. That's head voice. You didn't say, I don't know if I have the time.
Wow, this is a great lesson for me. And I'm guessing that I do have a solo voice in my natural, And
you have a soloistic personality.
Okay.
You and that's a part of it. There are some voices that are really very more have more to offer, but they just don't want to. They don't want to be in the front. You think of Lisa Fisher. Lisa Fisher is a spectacular singer by anybody's definition. A spectacular singer. Won a Grammy for a solo recording, and is one of the most outstanding backup singers in the world. One of the most in-demand backup singers in the world. Why is that? Because that's where her personality is. She's more nurturing in that way, and that's where she wants to be.
Wow.
She has the capability of being out front. She has more than proven that. She was one of the distinguished backup singers for Luther Vandross. I saw her singing backup for Tina Turner, of all people. And have you seen the movie 23 Feet from Stardom? It was a documentary. 23 Feet from Stardom. She's a major part of that.
Is she? Okay. That's not 5 feet from gold.
No, 23 feet from
Because I do know another singer who's a backup singer. I know her son. But anyways, I'll look that up. 23 Feet from Stardom. Yeah. Okay, I'll watch that.
And Lisa Fisher is a major part of that. And you go through her journey, and it's just spectacular.
Fabulous. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that for sure. But I wanted to ask you a question. We're running out of time. Singers who, like, Florence LaRue still singing, performing, Otis Williams still performing, singing, the Four Queens, there's a wide range of the ability to continue to have that voice. Why is it that some are not able to and some are?
Boy, that's a packed question. That's a loaded one. There are any number of reasons why people sometimes pull out of performing. Sometimes it's because of smoking. Smoking is perhaps the leading cause of what prevents people from following their fullest potential. And but then there can also be just luck, just plain luck. I've had students that have gone and had performance careers and pulled back and says, I just don't want to be on the road all the time. I could do it, but it's not what I want to do. And there are people that come to that place as well. But particularly when you're talking about popular idioms, you're talking about needing to what did they say? Luck is where preparation meets opportunity.
Chinese.
And you have to have all of that at the same time. And sometimes you have one or the other. You'll have the opportunity that comes up, and you're just not ready. You haven't done what either you're physically not ready, or you haven't done what needs to put you in that place. And then you hurry up and you get ready, and that ship has sailed. And then you have to go and do more to be ready. What do they say? If you stay ready, you won't have to get ready.
Right. I did find it. We're talking about the same film. So what I was look, Lisa Fisher, right? Isn't that what you were saying?
Yeah, that's her.
Okay,
that
so here's Darlene Love. I know her son. So isn't that interesting? It's the same. We're talking about the same movie. Great. Now I have to.
She had a huge career. Darlene Love had a huge career as a backup singer.
Yes.
She had a sister who did more front singing in the honey. They did Mr. Big Stuff. You remember in the 70s, Mr. Big Stuff. Who did? And they're going to put it in the one act. That was Darlene Love's sister. And she didn't do as much backup as her sister. They had very similar voices, though.
Interesting. Fascinating. I'm so glad that I got to have you here. And I've learned so much, and now maybe I'll ask for this for my birthday present or something. But I'm so delighted. And talking about, personality, or what you were calling it, solo personality or solo voice. So I found out on this show from an astrologer that I'm a Leo in 5 planets.
Those Leos are definitely standout people.
In 5 planets.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, but thank you so much. I want to just direct everybody to find Darryl Taylor at his website for all kinds of things. He's got links, he's got information, he's got a way to work with him. I'm sure somewhere in here.
Well, you can DM me at Instagram at Tenorman, TENNORRMAN.
Yeah,
on Instagram.
Absolutely, and that way. You can connect with him, and whether it's to have him as a vocal coach, or if you're a Black composer and you're frustrated because you don't know what to do, this is the place to go.
Right.
Thank you so much, Darryl. It's been delightful.
To be here.
Absolutely. And let's see what's going on. Tomorrow's Doctors in the House on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Thursday, Throwback Thursday. Friday, Straight Talk with Ricky Rebel. Keep it here, folks, for It's All About Balance. Can you put your fingers up there with me, and we'll sign out. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Darryl.